Channel Necromancy. Channel Necromancy. Okay. What the heck is that intro? Okay. Hello, it's Trekker of Trekker Tech. Finally made a video since I rebranded. Feels... I don't know. And welcome back to From the Depths, and this time it's something kind of different. I've been kind of doing all sorts of experiments and just building stuff in preparation for a possible co-op thing in the future. No clue if it'll actually happen, but I basically just kind of wanted to mess around. I got a few random ideas. So this is a land ship design that I've kind of come up with, and it's super complicated. I might make a video showcasing how to set that up if people are interested. I can give you the breadboard. But basically I created a breadboard program that allows a system like this basically, where you have the front wheels and the back wheels actually rotate independently. And it works quite well. And as I will demonstrate,
on my way,
it works quite well. So as you can see, it's moving, and then it's going to reach the destination, and it's going to kind of slow down and stop. I guess if I showcase the pathfinding, it's a little more clear what it's doing. As you can see, the wheels are rotating independently. Let me just do this so you can more clearly see what's going on. So it's just kind of going back and forth until it reaches a certain point. And now it is going into a steering mode, so it'll turn in place until it's facing roughly the correct direction. Then I'll straighten out and continue to move to the destination. And yeah, that's basically it. But the idea was that I wanted to have some sort of land ship that kind of functioned like a sea ship, but with strafe, because I decided I wanted it to be able to strafe and be able to go precisely where I told it to go. And that's what I did here, and I don't want to explain all this. It's quite a bit. It's also not that much, but it's quite a bit, and yeah. So I was able to, with minimal changes, adapt this to 4 and 3 track designs. In fact, this thing was designed so that it could actually strafe while fighting, although the breadboard program doesn't support it very well, and I guess I'll demonstrate that before I actually get on to the next thing. But this thing has a few design features that I kind of want to implement in what I will be building today. Then I have this thing, which is designed to be a simple construction vehicle, and I suppose, you know what, I can just tell this thing to go its own way. Is that even the correct one? I don't think that is. No, it's a CLS. There is nothing. Oh! I thought there was a resource zone in this map, but I guess there isn't. Okay, goodbye. You go back to formation mode. I'm just gonna send them away, just so I can take a closer look at these. So this is something that I got help from Ninja with. Basically, we worked together and built a little light tank, although he insists it's a medium tank, but honestly, I don't know about that. It's this maneuverable little tank that can take a bit of damage and deal quite a bit. Surprisingly, the most dangerous weapon in its arsenal is actually the side-mounted rocket launcher. They're actually heat missiles that are guided by laser. The only difficulty I have is they use laser beam riders and are therefore not the most accurate. And considering the fact that also the point from which it is aiming is always moving, it's very possible that it can miss just by that offset. And then I decided I wanted to build a tank destroyer, and It's just a tank destroyer. It just drives up, stops, and shoots, and as cool as this is, it's actually not very effective. But yeah, but these things are like starter tank material. It's like basically roughly around 10,000. I want to probably make something between 10,000 and 20,000 for an actual like special tank. So yeah, something that can kind of function similar to a front sider, but technically it's more of a glider tank, like what I call this thing, where the base is actually kind of like a rotating part of the vehicle, like that's independent, but the turret itself will act as like the main body of armor for it. So it'll have armor scheme similar to a front sider. Hopefully. I do not know if this will work out. So the very first thing I'm going to want to do is create a space for my AI to hang out. Otherwise, I'd be in grave danger. And then wireless receiver. No. Wireless transmitter here. Then I want the inter-vehicle transmitter. If for some reason your sensors don't seem to work, make sure that if you're using inter-vehicle transmitters, that they're actually inter-vehicle transmitters, because there's no visual difference between the two that I can tell. In fact, I'm going to do a little comparison right here. There isn't much of a visual difference between either. So I recommend that if your sensors just seem to not work at all and it's just like missing all the time, check to make sure that those aren't switched around, because if you switch those around, the system is just going to start missing. Like, it's not going to be able to keep up. So yeah, anyway, so that's going to be the first part. Alright, so here I gotta make a decision. So what I've done was a reinforced hybrid of heavy and metal armor. Reason is because I want a one-axis turret. I'm going to use a 3-meter one, even though that should be... Actually, I don't know if that'll be overkill or not. And we'll just put that there. In fact, I'm going to go and test something right now. So we have... Wait, sorry. I gotta make sure that I'm actually on the right construct. I'm going to add some rubber blocks here. And I'm going to drop it. Please land safely. There we go. But on this, I'm going to take nothing but lead. And I'm going to create like an insane like thing. I want all of the mass of like the vehicle up on this turret. I need to see what happens when I turn the turret. So this turret should actually weigh a lot more than like that, but it still turns on it. Really? Okay. Then if I keep doing this, so now the center of mass has been seriously shifted forward. So there's no way that this should be able to work. And it works. It is causing balance issues, but it's not rotating the base, and that's what I'm checking for here. So that means... So momentum doesn't get transferred. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep putting work on this until I have something really basic, and I will be back. Alright. So just doing a test here. And it looks pretty cool. As you can see, the armor is actually separate from the base, and even though I'm sure the whole turret weighs more, the base is actually completely separated. I have the back cut out just so that you can see the base kind of through there. Honestly speaking, I kind of wanna see if I can lower the profile of this. Because, let's be honest, that's probably what I need to do. Alright, I'm back. this looks a lot better. Geez, this is really starting to resemble the Scorpion tank, at least a little bit. Kind of like it. So let's just... Oh, if I were to spawn something in, that wouldn't really make much sense. So I'm just gonna send this thing back to, I don't know, let's just go to the salvage. Can turn around, it doesn't tilt, it just slides. Geez, that's a lot of that's a huge power slide. But I liked it. And its cost went down very slightly. So it isn't electric, so the batteries are going to need to be charged. But my plan is bigger engines can be more efficient. So yeah, so let's see here. Where does it say? 128.89 power. That's actually not bad. That's comparable to the other. Like the other tanks are like 50. But yeah. Anyway, this is going to slide around just a bit because... Come on. It should be slowing down as it gets close. I might create a breadboard program specifically to give it access to braking, in which case I'm going to have to go through every single one of these wheels and change settings, which isn't going to be fun. It's a high-speed shell. That's for sure. Probably get a higher gauge if I add an inertial fuse. Yep. Yeah, this thing should be able to present front side or like armor no matter what direction it's headed though. So that's going to be the plan. Let's turn off the movement. And I'm going to continue working on this. That looks cool. As the front has like this giant grill. Which kind of extends through it. And then I have like the actual like cannon be armored, and I have multiple layers of armor. And then I'm just gonna move this chair somewhere else, I guess. I don't know if I have access to the cannon still. Yep, I do. Yes, I think I got an idea of what I'm going to be going for. So I'm going to develop this idea a little further, and I guess, boop. Alright, I'm back, and this is quite a bit of a jump. I may as well just show everything that I did so far. This really did start to turn out like an actual Nod tank, doesn't it? It looks a lot like one. So yeah. Not much for me to say here. It has sensors, it has a server farm here, it has missiles, has extra detection, it targets hot blocks because I want it to try to disable its targets, and it has electric engines which it uses to power itself. And yeah, I had to like scrunch a lot of this back down to a smaller size. Unfortunately, I found flaws with this. Severe flaws. So the turret section is actually extremely tanky and durable, but the section that it surrounds isn't. I've had to make lots of changes. Let me just showcase. So you can see it driving. So this tail end actually turns in order to provide extra steering. That turned out to actually be necessary because it really slows down. I don't think small wheels are a good thing to use here. Also, yeah, I made it kind of expressive. I went and applied some special logic here in order to make it look kind of adorable. Unfortunately, I think I can't use these wide wheels because it seems to be jittering about, and that's no good. But anyway, let me just spawn in something. And what happened here? Why is it upside down? Maybe I should be scaling this thing back quite a bit. Could probably do better if I scale it back, because something of this size might be a little too much. It's too top heavy. It's like a chibi. And now it decided that it wants to stay on a hill. Is just not as good as I wanted it to be. So I think I'm back to square one. Unfortunately, I got it looking okay too. Okay, I'm back, and I have like a little basic body here. Much smaller core than this thing. And as you can see, I actually ran into some issues because I had placed a turret on backwards. So I need to actually fix that. But basically, I've come up with a different turret design. It's actually a bit lower profile than the previous one. I can try to center the center of mass a little lower, and I've compressed it a little. So it's going to be sort of like this, I think. Yes. So like this. However, I can't do it like that. I need sub-objects. I'm using a 5-meter turret. That way I can kind of hang on to the corners here, and so the turret is like a whole thing. Costs quite a bit, but has a lot more health, and it also weighs a lot, so it's moving the center of mass a bit high. But I really need to just connect this. Let's just do a test here. Okay, it's actually correct now. So I have a gun, and it fires a mixed shell, as you can see, piercing, but this time I have a penetration fuse, so it will actually go off after it penetrates, and geez, the range on that. And the barrel is actually a bit longer, and the mechanism's a bit closer to the front, and I have it actually going down this time. I've not actually tested any AI related stuff. I do have like the breadboard program in this, but I haven't been messing with it. Obviously stuff like B I probably don't need. That was just propulsion, so this might just have like the little expressive like thingies there, like I have there. So this is sort of the idea. I have multiple layers of protection here, so it's actually a thing. I probably also want anti-piercing in the front here, because let's be honest, it probably needs anti-piercing. I do not want this turret to be like susceptible, so I'm going to go and actually use some heavy armor. I may as well use it like that to direct it downward, I guess, into this armor. And now if I take a look, that should actually be fully protected from one direction. And it does look about right. I probably also want this to be kind of just extended up, but just this bit. And then the rest can probably just be like that, because I doubt anything's going to hit us straight from the top. So I have to worry about recoil absorption and stuff, and I need to find a way to accommodate that. And unfortunately, because of the way this turret is designed, I can't just have the recoil absorption. So I have to be clever. But maybe I can be clever and also get a tiny bit more fire rate out of it. It's already kind of approaching my final budget, so could do something like that. And then I have that. And that should cover it, I hope. I'm thinking of just doing something like this with the sensors, where I have, I really like these coincidence rangefinders, for example. and then just find a way to isolate this so that if this goes kablooey, I don't immediately lose this. Already got some stuff going on. Yeah, see, that one pierced through and then hit that. So that's perfect. Oh, look at that. I think the game crashed. No, it didn't. Okay, welcome back. I have finally finished this thing off. Actually, probably should have recorded a bit more. Basically, since last time I added sensors, I added multiple LEMS nodes. Well, they're not LEMS nodes, but they're detection for projectiles. I have this cannon, which is there. It's got a new lick of paint, and it's still pretty much the same. I like how it looks, to be honest. And I have on the turret a missile. This is something that I've added. This does enough damage to actually straight up tip the battle in my favor. And this thing costs less than the previous design after all this, but it's slight. But either way, I like this design a lot more than I liked the other one, to be honest. Like, this looks a lot more sleek, and it's like a robot tank with like a ridiculously silly tiny base, I guess. Which I had to adjust the wheel so that it actually bottoms out on the rubber, because that was a problem. Basically, this is very random of me, but basically if you have a problem with your ships like jumping up in the air and like doing little bunny hops, if you place the wheels like up and then extend the axle, or not extend the axle but extend the length of the wheels and then add rubber, then it will bottom out on the rubber, and so it physically the base hits the rubber. You just have to make it so that the base is what physically hits the ground first, and then the wheels can actually not cause it to bounce, because what it's doing is applying effectively a proportion of the vehicle's weight based on how compressed the wheel is. And I think maybe that's part of the reason why it's leaning back ever so slightly. So either way, I've added a bunch of stuff. So I have flares here, and these fire in like a volley of 4. Actually, I don't think they fire in a volley of 4, I think it's continuous. But either way, when there are missiles detected, they fire. And this actually has successfully distracted missiles from the likes of the Tremor. So that's nice. And then of course I have like the little ear things which articulate depending on like where it's going. And that actually makes it kind of feel like it's trying to concentrate. And of course, if I just close this off, it's entirely battery powered. It's actually a little underpowered for the battery. Its battery will die fairly quickly, but it can survive 2 or 3 battles before the battery actually becomes an issue. It can also travel a pretty decent distance before a battery becomes an issue, but yeah. One weakness this thing definitely has is range, and I'm going to have to fix that at some point. I also added a bit of resource storage in the back here, and it's protected from the bottom just with this very thin bit of underlayment, and that means that mines aren't going to completely take out its storage. Anyway, I probably should just go straight into it, shouldn't I? Is this thing... Okay, let's just start over. Oh, it's tumbling. It managed to topple itself. That explains a lot, actually. If it managed to topple itself, there's no way it would be able to aim and fight. But this is the one which can't aim in the first place. This is a primary issue, though, with this design. It's very top-heavy. Okay, I am back. Let me unpause here. I have made some modifications, as you can clearly see right here. This is it. These are the modifications. So as you can see, the wheelbase has changed slightly. It now has 3 tread segments per side and basically a pontoon over here. And this is going to allow the vehicle to actually handle itself a little bit more efficiently over terrain. And specifically, it will not fall over as easily. I've tested it for review and it actually seems to be working out just fine. In addition, I don't think you would have noticed, but I have actually reduced the armor in the back because I just kind of thought to myself, why do I have 2 layers of armor on the very back of it? Like, I don't mind that being somewhat vulnerable because I still have the absolute ridiculous amount of protection for the gun from behind anyway. And this is just weighing it down a bit, so I shaved that back just slightly. Now it's actually kind of flush with the antennae, and not much else has changed. Actually, I can show you what has changed. I have added a pair of batteries into the back. These provide a bit of charge, and that actually has almost doubled the amount of power storage that this vehicle has. And now, assuming that it's always going at its max speed, at its max power usage per like whatever it's doing, its top speed, like going at top speed as in combat speed, it'll last for like 21 minutes. And when it's going at its regular travel speed, it can go for 41 minutes. So its range has actually substantially improved over the first iteration. Actually, correction, not 41, it's 43. I'm getting it mixed up with the first one, but still. So I have been considering having something added to the breadboard system where I could have the overall power of the motors actually be regulated by ACBs, and I just send out a couple signals that toggle them. The idea is that when I want to turn in place, I have a spike in power output just so that it can turn more easily. But I've overall decided against this because I don't think I want that. So I want to test something. Let me test something. If I just do this now. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I got a cinematic camera. Oh, but it's only if I got it getting relatively close, but if I press shift and caps lock, how am I doing this? There we go. Well, that's interesting. So I got a cinematic camera mode now. Let's put the UI back up. That's actually kind of cool.
On my way.
Oh, this is nice. I like it. Oh, and depending on the camera angle, it adjusts its overall view so that it keeps it center. Oh, I like this. So I could do something like this, and it's not as jarring. I'm going to be using this because guess what? We have some combat testing to do, and among those things, I kind of want to see how well it does against King Cobra. Keep in mind, its current cost is far less than the King Cobra, $37,550, and I'm also kind of curious, versus its previous iteration, how expensive is it? Oh, it's still less expensive. I thought I made it more expensive by adding the battery, but I guess I'm wrong. So let's have a run-in with a King Cobra. And let me just do the camera follow mode. Look at that. I like this. So we're keeping our distance. We're firing our missile when necessary to distract the floater bombs, as you can see over there. The floater bombs are successfully being distracted. And we're firing our own missile and cannon. As you can see, looks like we still have tracking. I thought maybe it had its missile nicked. We're hitting some bumpy terrain, which is causing a degree of damage. Oh, and looks like we're being pursued relentlessly by a floater bomb, but we escaped it. And look at that. We're doing a pretty good job at this. And thanks to the extended battery life, it actually can maneuver a little more confidently, which is always good. I should adjust the camera, and oh, look at that. 2 damaged. I like that. That's really cool. That's really cool. Okay, let's do a tremor. So this thing has a pair of like large missiles. One has tracked, but it missed. Good. It outmaneuvered. I gotta get lucky here, because gotta actually disable those missiles first and foremost. And if possible, disabling that gun is needed, because if the ship, like if this tank, if the robot tank isn't able to take out the guns or the missiles, it is actually in trouble, but I know it's capable of surviving. And oh, I didn't expect that to happen. Gotta take manual control of the camera back. There we go. Got it back. I think the block that it was tracking was actually knocked off, so... Come on. I think our missile system might be damaged. We might not actually win this, and if we don't, I'm just going to cut directly to a battle with 2 of these things, because this tremor is worth way more than like 2 of them. Come on, keep going. Just keep going. Show what you got. Got like the little sand raiders. Should I go like we're in actual combat? No, that's not what I meant to do. Oh well. I wanted to try to change the setting, but yeah. Anyway, it seems like it has retreated into a corner somewhere. Probably in hopes of either tripping up my tank or being fine. If I were to try to take a look, yeah, we lost one of the flanks. So we don't have as much support on one side. So now it is possible to topple, but it's unlikely. It just wall rode just to hit us. Okay, I'm leaving this part in. Look at that. We're having a couple jumps. And we're trying to... Okay, this rough terrain might actually work out in our favor here. Because this robot tank, it's still able to shoot it, but because of like its distance, it can actually avoid having to deal with the things, the smaller vehicles, as much, which is an advantage. Oh, that looks missed. I was getting worried for a moment, but I guess that isn't something I have to worry about. Seeing that thing lurch over the horizon is so intimidating. Now we're getting hit by the small rounds. Big bounce. It got caught. I think we lost an entire side of the drivetrain, hasn't it? Oh yeah, look at that. That is severe damage. I don't think it's going to survive. Back. Let me just detach my camera. We are bottomed out now. It's a turret. Oh, but we've defeated it. What? We managed to defeat it? Oh, good. And we're doing damage. I never thought I would see something like this. It really does think it's like a spacecraft. And because it's spinning and able to somehow control the spinning, it's able to stay upright. Yeah, this robot tank I think also has no detection systems left, does it? Nope. It's actually completely screwed. There's no way. And it's getting death from above, because of course it is. Because, you know, the Deepwater Guard Space Company has come in to play. So what happens to these? Like, I probably, if I see a tremor, I probably will spend more than one of these, and I know for a fact that'll be enough to deal with these. And eventually this thing might even repair its rocket launcher anyway and be able to continue fighting. But for the purposes of this, I'm just going to say we got them. Let's just hit the repair all buttons, and now it should be able to move again. Alright, how much power do we have left? It has like up to 21 minutes of power, and I'm actually kind of using that as like my gauge for how long I've been fighting. It's probably time for me to spawn this as an enemy team. I want to see what happens if we fight this. So I'm going to spawn this in. Easily distracted the missile. Our missile goes in, sends a hit, actually does no visible damage, must be all system damage. I'm going to follow this using the caps lock mode. It's my new favorite thing. And let's just watch this battle ensue. I knocked off one of the antenna. And look at this. Come on, all you have to do is defeat your predecessor. Like, it even costs less than the predecessor, so there's that. Very evenly matched though. Also, looks like their main missile has gone off. That is fine though. Let's just set the camera to this side. We look a little beaten up. Let's do C menu. Which one is worse? Okay, so we're barely in the lead by like 1% of hit points. It seems like they're... Seriously? That was the block? Let me connect to the side of the turret. Maybe that won't get blown off. Yeah, some shots are deflecting, but I feel like now it's tilted. Oh yeah, it's tilted slightly. Missiles aren't getting distracted anymore. I wonder what happened. There we go. Another missile got distracted. Vehicle should be doing everything it can now. And our missiles firing off. They do not have as much flares, so yeah. We hit the... I think I just saw some serious damage here. Let me attach to this. And it doesn't look serious, actually. Looks just fine, now that I look at it. It's moving pretty quick, actually. Our missile's going off. Knocked off what I was following. It fires its missile, managed to successfully distract, and the tables have been turned. Yet again. We're continuing to exchange blows, and oh no. Oh, the turret's... Okay, the turret on this new version is not as high gauge. or as effective as the... Well, it's just as effective, but it's not as high gauge, and has a slightly worse fire rate. Looks like it's managed to land another blow, and that took off 2% of hit points. Ugh, that's rough. I see some parts on this end flying off though, and now they're evening again. Missiles exchanged. Hit applied directly to drivetrain. How is this thing doing for power? Okay, it's doing fine. Apparently one electric engine's been damaged, but it's not that serious. It's just not moving as fast as it should. Possibly due to flaws with its drivetrain system. Oh, it looks like it might fall over. Oh, is it going to be done in by one of its flaws? Nope. But it has started to take the lead. But it looks like it's about to actually be properly immobilized. We fired our missile off. I want to see. That was a good hit. And our drivetrain's completely intact, being one solid piece that the gun rests on. It appears that this vehicle is in fact faster, and has been using that to outmaneuver it. I want to check resources. We're doing okay for resources right now. This thing doesn't have as much capacity due to the smaller base and the fact that I can't place many resource blocks on turrets, but it's doing what it can. It's actually kind of interesting because I do have direct access to the coal blocks, but I just can't think of a place where I'd put them that it wouldn't just stand out. Anyway, we've managed to successfully dodge that missile, firing ours. It doesn't get distracted, and another big hit. I feel like our tank is doing better by just a hair, just because of the missiles. Because this one has a better missile than the other, for sure, including some EMP, unlike the other one. Which means it can actually strip away some of that heavy armor, but also, it's just like the defensive systems on this one are actually better, so it can last longer against it when it fires its missiles. As you can see there, I barely even noticed that one because it wasn't flying in. And I think we managed to do it. Let's take a close look. Not only have we disabled the weapon, but it's knocked itself over. It's game over. It can't fight back. I don't think even its missile system's online. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, the missile system isn't properly aligned, so it's not going to fire, but it does look like it's intact. It's not going to last though. It seems like it's targeting it. Come on, land a good hit. Looks like it wants to turn. That was a really small EMP. I take that back. I'm just going to wait and just see. Like, do we defeat it? Will it be able to launch one final revenge missile when it crosses in front of it? I guess I'll just cut to when something happens. Yeah, this AI is perfectly intact. Never mind. It's still there, but now it's too damaged. I really thought it would go AI dead long before this. That said, we have a winner. How bad is the power Oh, the battery's so low, it is unable to
Yes?
even travel in its cruise mode for very long.
On my way.
But yeah, I think though that that's going to do it. And that is probably what I'd call a successful design. So I don't know if I will do this campaign, but I guess this will be like my primary like weapons platform. I'm just kind of curious, did I actually remember to like add this in? I'm going to add this thing in. I'm probably going to
Yes.
order this to
Rolling into formation.
try to move
On my way.
out of the way. Ow. But I'm curious, is it recharging the batteries? No. I think I might want to make a slight modification to this thing then. I think it should be charging some batteries with its excess power. Because it's either that or I should make a custom generator vehicle, which its whole purpose is to probably use laser defenses and support the rest of the fleet by giving high quality detection data and power. So I guess that will be one of my next goals. Although I could easily get distracted and do something else. So I'll see you then.